Hello, my brilliant home buyers and sellers. This is Faryal. In today's video, I am going to talk about the market update for the month of September. We are also going to take a look at what made it to the news. And at the end of this video, I have created a chart which shows average home prices for all home types in the Greater Toronto area from the beginning of this year up until September and really show you what has been happening. So let's get right into it. First, as always, let's take a look at the numbers. Our sales were down as expected by 7.1%, recorded at 4,642 year over year. However, they were down by 12.31% month over month. New listings were up by 44.1% year over year, but you won't believe it. Month over month, they were up by 32.22%. Average day to sell your home in September was 30 days, which went up by 2 days since August. Average prices were sitting at just over 1.1. Saw that they went up by 3% year over year, but they actually went up by 3.4% month over month. Now, months of inventory is sitting at over just 2 months. So what does it all mean? So just to give you a quick summary, in the month of September, what we really saw is that more inventory came into the market, which definitely helped the buyers to give them a sigh of relief to be able to take time and think before making the most important decision of their lifetime. That, of course, can cost them thousands and millions of dollars. Also, this gives the buyers an opportunity to be able to demand those conditions again, such as home inspection, financing, so that really minimize the risk or any surprises post-purchase. So what sellers realized that there's more competition in the market for them, and they were willing to and open to negotiate when it came to home prices and also accepting more conditions. They also realized that now houses are taking a lot longer. In many cases, it might take you at least a month to sell your home. Another trend that I saw, that many homes were listed way below the market value with an offer date, didn't end up selling on the offer date, and that pushed the sellers to relist their home at the market value, or at least I would say what they think their home is worth. In a nutshell, sellers were definitely dealing with a small pool of buyers out there. However, sellers were not at a big loss. Prices kept pretty steady, and as you can see from the numbers, they actually went up both year over year and month over month. I would say we have officially entered into the buyer's market. Now, what is really a buyer's market? Well, in simple words, it's basically when you have more homes to sell in the market than there are buyers available to buy. Usually what ends up happening in the buyer's market, that you see prices start falling or they at least start decreasing, which wasn't the case here. Now, we saw that more inventory came to the market. There was less buyers, higher inflation should bring the home prices down, right? But that's not what we saw happen. I mean, in my opinion, there could be many reasons. I don't have all the answers. It could be the all-time low unemployment rate. It could be the fast-growing population that we're seeing that's definitely causing the demand, or low housing supply. Mixed of all of them together could be the reason why prices haven't come down, but I'm curious to know, what do you think? Now, let's check out what made it to the news. So before I show you the article that I want to bring your attention to, if you have seen my last market update for August, I was talking about the affordable housing, and also I brought the attention that there was a chat going on that GST should be removed for the builders to encourage them to start building more affordable rental units. Well, this is what happened. So right in front of me is the article published by CTV News that talks about will removing GST off new rental construction improve affordability. And here's what the experts say. So before I go into the article, I did talk about this back in my last market update video, where there was a talk going on about removing GST and how it affects the developers and not encourage them to get into building more purposeful, affordable housing rental units, because in the end of the day, it all boils down to making profits. And of course, this was costing them a lot more money than it was making them the profit. So they tended to go towards building more condominium buildings, which you see everywhere popping up in the city. However, not the rental units that we desperately need, right? So this was the promise made by the Liberals back in 2015 election, that they will be removing the GST. Now, Let's first take a look at how bad of the situation is when it comes to our vacancy rates and our rental construction projects. So right now we are seeing multiple factors, right? So the Canada Mortgage Housing Corporation reported in January that the national vacancy rate last year was the lowest it had been since 2001, dropping to 1.9% for purpose-built rental apartments from 3.1%. And our average rent right now in Canada has reached a record of $2,117 in August, which is absolutely bananas and ridiculous in my personal opinion. So what was happening is that 5% GST discouraged developers from pursuing purpose-built rental apartments. As I was mentioning in my previous video, when you build a condominium apartments, you can give this cost to the buyers, because when they buy those units from you, they end up paying the GST for the builders. Whereas in the rental unit, that's not the case. Now, it also talks about that CMHC this week also reaffirmed in a previous report that the country still needs another 3.5 million housing units by 2030. How are we going to do that? I think this is a step in the right direction by removing the 5% GST. However, of course, it is not a short-term solution to our ongoing shortages when it comes to rental market right now, but definitely in the right direction. However, I mean, if this was started way earlier, we might have more rental units built by now. But hey, 7 years later, this is happening. People do a lot of things to get elected, and the promises are forgotten. But the situation is really bad now, and they definitely need this to happen so we start seeing more rental construction projects. Now, we all know that housing affordability at the moment is the utmost important part and topic in our current real estate market. What do you think, in your opinion, will increase the supply of more affordable housing? Let me know in the comments below. Now, let's take a look at the chart that I've created with average home prices beginning of this year up until the end of September. So right in front of me is the chart that I've created. I pointed out the months starting beginning of this year. I also wrote down the average prices, the percentage changes, and the times where the interest rates went up and the times where they did not go up at all, and also how the inflation was doing right next to it. So looking at it, we saw that from December to January, prices went down by 1.19%. This is where the bank announced that they are going to increase the interest rates, right? And we were sitting quite high when it comes to inflation, 5.9%. Then in February, we saw that the prices went up, no change in the interest rates for next 4 months. So that was the time when buyers really decided to get into the market. They had enough of the sitting on the sidelines, and they saw that there's a chance for them to get in because there was no increases happening. But that was also a really good time for the sellers because prices were going up constantly. 4 months in a row, we saw that they went up: February, March, April, May, and the interest rate did not change at all. So this was a really golden time for many sellers. If you were someone who was looking to sell for a higher price, this was the time. And then also we saw that inflation was going down. By the time May hit, we were at 3.4%, which was really good news for a lot of people. But then we saw that in June, the interest rates went up again, right? Because of course the prices were going out of control. Many buyers entered the market, and that's when they decided that, hey, this is not going to help us, because right after that, June, our inflation was 2.8%. For the first time, we got really close to our goal of 2%. But then the interest rates went up, and we started to go up again. And in July, the prices went down. August prices went down because we had 2 interest rate hikes back to back. In August, 5%, and in September, 5%. So our next inflation rate to be announced is on October 17th, which is not too far from now. The forecast is 4.5%, and our interest rates are to be announced on October 25th. A lot of predictions being made that they are going to go up once again, but we don't know that for sure. So let's see what happens, and I am really curious to know what happens. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you do not miss out any other future market updates and all the other amazing videos and content that I post. Until next time, have yourself a wonderful day and remember to be kind to yourself and others.